first in its series, a fireside chat. And indeed, if you're wondering what's that all about, this fireside chat is the first one of many activities and events that the Women Directors Development Committee are hosting for you all in the course of the year. This is a comfortable conversation, one-on-one conversation with a distinguished person, a distinguished guest, sharing his or her experiences. And in the house today, we have a wonderful, wonderful guest who is taking on our first fireside chat for the WDDC. And of course, she is herself wonderful, delectable, delightful Mrs. Maiden Ibru. Honestly, we're so excited to have her. She's full of wonderful stories. And indeed, we really want you to listen and listen carefully to her experience. This is an opportunity for you to sit back, feel very comfortable where you are, listen to all the experiences that Mrs. Maiden Ibru is going to share with us all. You have an opportunity to ask multiple questions in your journey to being a director, a leader. If you're a director or a leader already, you know, you really want to tap into various experience. They say is power, and experience is really the best thing that you can really get in life. And we're so grateful that Mrs. Maiden Ibru is here with us today. She's going to be sharing her experiences. We have our moderator in the house. She's Mrs. Okpayemi Uduwole. We will be giving a short introduction later, but this is just to warmly welcome you all to the fireside chat hosted by the Women Directors Development Committee. And today's theme is Leading to Win with Maiden Ibru. Honestly, please sit back, listen to the conversations, write your questions down because she's ready to answer all your questions. So indeed, wonderful stories, you will love it. So I'm gonna just hand over to our chairperson for the Women Directors Development Committee, and she's by no other means, she's Otumba Mrs. Debola Oshibogun, and she's going to also warmly welcome you. So thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Janet, for that lovely introduction. And of course, I can see that Lady Ibru is comfortably seated and waiting to share her experience with us. Yes. Well, the President and Chairman of the Governing Council, Institute of Directors, Dr. Mrs. E.J. Chidima, FIOD. As seasoned speaker, Lady Maiden Alex Ibru, Chairman, Publishers, and CEO of Guardian Newspapers. Distinguished past president here present, members of the Governing Council and Executive Committee of the Institute of Directors, members of the Women Directors Development Committee, fellows and members of our great institute, icons and captains of industries, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen of the press. It is with great delight that I welcome you all on behalf of our President and Chairman of the Governing Council of the Institute of Directors of Nigeria to the July 2022 edition of our Fire Chat with the theme, Leading to Win with Lady Maiden Ibru. This program is organized by the Women Directors Development Committee of IOD Nigeria as one of the features of the executive coaching program initiated by the committee. The aim of the program is to provide opportunity for women leaders to share experiences and reflect on new ideas and strategies for navigating their seats at the table and living a balanced life. Participants are expected to learn from one another, build working relationship, and find relevant peer support. Leadership is a major factor for success in any organization, either in the public or private sector, and the performance of leaders has remained a key factor that is used to gauge the possible trajectory of success or failure of any society or group. Female leaders matters because women are said to be passionate, creative, action-oriented, and are champions of change. A woman in a leadership position will put in all her all to succeed and ensure that others succeed too. Put a woman at the ends of affairs of a failing organization to watch that organization fall. Apart from the need to achieve greater balance, sorry, can we all mute? Can we all mute, please? Can we please mute? Apart from the need to achieve gender balance, this uniqueness about female leadership is now being recognized world over, and more women today occupy leadership roles more than ever before. Recent research revealed that more than 20 organizations in the year 2020 are led by women on the Global 500 list, which is a greater figure than it had ever been. Studies have also shown that companies with more female representations on their board outperformed their counterparts. Women are now being recognized as great leaders as they continue to assume leadership roles. As such, there is the need to empower such women through our WDDC executive coaching program to enable them lead successfully. It is imperative that women must consciously position themselves to better succeed and get ahead. There is the need for female leaders to continually develop their capacity, acquire the relevant knowledge and skills to do more and to achieve more. Distinguished participants, it is a known fact that most women who reach top leadership positions defy all odds to get there. Women at these levels are assumed to be extraordinary and strong. To win, we must develop the right team culture, identify and utilize talents, and activate skills development. Our chat today will throw more light on this and further deepen our understanding on how to lead and to win. Finally, let me quote from a speech given by Barack Obama, the 44th President of the United States of America, which centered around leadership. He said that women are not perfect, but are indisputably better than men. And I quote, "I'm absolutely confident that for 2 years, if every nation on earth was run by women, you will see a significant improvement across the board on just everything, the living standards and outcomes," end of quote. Let me again welcome you all to the Fire Chat with Lady Maiden Ibru, the chairman, publisher, and CEO, Guardian Newspapers. We heartily thank you, Lady Maiden Ibru, for honoring our invitation to this event. We're inspired by your success in breaking the gender bias in the society and the workplace in particular. I sincerely thank everyone for joining today's program. Let us all relax, sit back, be ready to learn, relearn, and unlearn. Thank you and God bless. I want to hand over to Janet.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. We really appreciate that. Very informative information. And now, roundabout now, we want to quickly go into a welcome speech by our president herself, by the name of Dr. EJ herself. I call her Dr. EJ. I love to call her Dr. EJ Jijima. Please. Madam, please kindly give your welcome remarks today. You're very welcome in the house with us. We look forward to hearing from you. God bless.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Dr. Janet Adetu. Our special guest, Lady Maiden Ibru, MFR, FIOD, publisher of the Guardian newspaper. Members of the Governing Council, past presidents and distinguished elders of the Institute, and members of the Executive Committee here present. Our hosts, Women Directors Development Committee members, fellows and members of Institute of Directors, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. This is actually very, very exciting for me to see today. And on behalf of the council, the Governing Council, and the entire members of the Institute of Directors, I'm delighted to welcome you to our Fireside Chat series, a laudable initiative of the Women Directors Development Committee of the Institute of Directors Nigeria. The theme for today's episode is Leading to Win. Leading to Win. Leadership is an important responsibility that helps to ensure the efficient utilization of any organization's resources and the attainment of organizational goals. A good leader must be able to motivate and guide the company to achieve its mission and provide a clear purpose for the organization. Although qualitative leadership does not depend on gender per se, statistics indicate that only 24% of senior leadership positions are held by women globally. To bridge the gap, global attention has focused on increasing women in leadership across countries. In fact, significant progress has been made, even though there is still a disproportionately low number of women in leadership. It is worthy of note that women are gradually making their leadership presence felt in entrepreneurship, administration, education, engineering, health, national and global arena. The result, to break the traditional glass ceiling that barred them from entering leadership positions, even when they possess the requisite skills and talent to occupy these positions. Women are constantly evolving and reaching new milestones across a wide spectrum of human activities in modern times. The world has witnessed the advent of women leaders such as Dr. Tonje Iweala, the Director General of the World Trade Organization, women like Mrs. Amina J. Mohammed, the Deputy General of the United Nations, women like Oprah Winfrey, Theresa May, Christine Lagarde, to name but a few. Distinguished directors, ladies and gentlemen, our special guest for today, our mentor, is a seasoned professional and businesswoman of note, a mass communicator, and experienced board player, Lady Maiden Ibru, MFR, FIOD. As they say, her reputation precedes her. Apart from many other business concerns, a special guest and mentor runs one of Nigeria's leading newspapers. The theme for today's session is Leading to Win. As a popular book title reads, why should anyone be led by you? That's a book by Rob Goffey and Gareth Jones. In the book, they talk about knowing yourself and showing yourself enough. Leadership begins with you. You cannot succeed as a leader unless you have some sense of who you are. Your colleagues who are potential followers have a simple but basic need. They want to be led by a person, not a corporate apparatchik. In this case, for Lady Ibru, we know who she is. We know who she is as a religious person. We know who she is as a mass communicator. We know who she is as a socialite. We know who she is as a devoted wife and mother and publisher of the Guardian newspaper with her stirring motto, conscience nurtured by truth. It is unlikely that you will be able to inspire, arouse, excite, or motivate people unless you can show them who you are, what you stand for, and what you can and cannot do. I can say that our special guest today, as far as our special guest today is concerned, I'm not at a loss about what she stands for. Her quest for excellence, her family values, philanthropy, or compassion, and of course, her diligence as a business person that plays to win. Lady Ibru does not just play, she plays to win. She leads to win. Excellence is important to her. Success is important to her. She's not lukewarm in anything she puts her mind to. She leads with passion. She's resilient. I remember vividly visiting her home when she lost her husband with a team from Godi Jidema Foundation. In that team, we are Professor Patu Tommy, Mr. Joe Biago, and others. And of course, a 2011 guest lecturer, Professor Ali Mazrui of blessed memory, that great African of all times. Her eyes lit because as a mass communicator, she understood the importance of the visit, both on the literary plane and also on the philanthropy leaning. I also recount the courtesy call by the Institute of Directors to the Rutam House, led by past President Rufai Ahmed Mohammed, DFIOD. Lady Ibru proved herself as someone meticulous, who was unassuming and did not leave anything to chance. My brief here is not to tell you about Lady Ibru's story, as we are already by her fireside. It is to pay obeisance to who honor is due and to thank her for her generosity of spirit in helping to shape and strengthen the next generation of women from the way she carried herself, from the way she spoke her mind, from the way she walked the talk. I thank her in advance for accepting to share with us the meanderings of life through thick and thin, and how she overcame the challenges that came her way and still stood tall. She serves as a role model to many, even without being conscious of it. As young women model themselves against a professional at the peak and a successful businesswoman, how she successfully juggles all these and not lose the ball, we will get to know as we roast our corn and eat our pear on this cool evening in July 2022 by her fireside. Once again, on behalf of the Governing Council and members of the Institute, I extend my warm appreciation to our distinguished guests for accepting our invitation despite our busy schedule. To all our guests who are yet to be members of the Institute, I would like to encourage you to seize this opportunity today to be part of this great institute. Let me once again thank all attendees for being a part of this event, and I enjoy you all to listen attentively, ask relevant questions, and optimize this rare opportunity in your quest for growth and development. I commend the untiring efforts of the Women Director Development Committee of the Institute, ably led by Otumba Mrs. Debola Oshibogun, FIOD, for working tirelessly to ensure the success of this session. I would like to note that this committee, this Women Directors Development Committee, has made tremendous effort in the development of our female directors through various strategic and enlightening programs and initiatives. Thank you for your kind attention. God bless. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. E.J. Didima, our president and chairman of the Governing Council of the Institute of Directors. Thank you so much for your speech. Wonderful, well thought out, and I'm sure lots of women would love to be members of this Institute of Directors. So, loud and clear. Okay, so we're going to get right into the conversations right now. But before we do that, it's important for us to introduce the moderator for today, as well as our wonderful guest speaker, Lady Maiden Ibru. I'm going to quickly speak to the introduction of our moderator for today, and she is none other than Opayemi Oduwale. She is indeed a chemical engineer by training, but a banker by profession. She has over a decade of experience in providing transactional and wealth advisory services to ultra-high as well as high net worth individuals. Indeed, she's currently the head of investment sales of the investment banking arm of Sterling Bank. Opayemi started out in private banking with Stanbic IBTC, where she served in multiple roles within the organization. She served as a regional head and business development manager within the private banking business of Stanbic IBTC. She then moved on as head of privileged banking in Diamond Bank, and then she served as the country head of the private banking in Sterling Bank before moving on to her current role. Opayemi is passionate about wealth creation, growth, and effective transition, as well as helping people fulfill their potential. Opayemi loves books and loves also helping many people, reach that full potential that she spoke about. She has articles on her LinkedIn page. She has a podcast, and she also has many things written on multiple platforms just to ensure that she uses her knowledge to the best she can to help people. Opayemi is an avid lover of fashion. She has a personal mantra. And listen to this. Her mantras are: knowledge always gives you an edge. Results cannot be denied. And average is not an option when you have the ability to be excellent in you. So thank you so much, Opayemi, for honoring our invitation to be the moderator for today. We look forward to the conversation. And just as I have done that, I'm going to hand over to the Vice Chairperson of the Women Directors Development Committee, and she's no other than Chizo Malize, to give us the introduction of our wonderful guest speaker, Lady Maiden Ibru. So Chizo, thank you. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And I do hope that you can see me.
Over to Mrs. Ibru. You're about to introduce me.
Please, can you hear me also?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
we can
we can hear you.
hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've faced a bit of network challenges, and I do hope that this will remain as stable. Today is very peculiar. I don't know if it is just my end, but the network just keeps breaking. Just in case I freeze, or just in case you do not see me, just know that it is the network because I'm fully in the meeting. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Chizo.
Okay. It gives me so much pleasure this evening to be able to present to us a woman of means and a woman of dignity who has very magnanimously accepted to be able to take this position today as our guest speaker.
Yes.
It's a double honor and pleasure to introduce her today. And the reason being that she's a very big inspiration to a lot of women, including those of us that are at the IOD. We do know all of the things that she has done, but we would take the pleasure of going over her profile, even though she has touched life and touched many in several ways. And we have the privilege at IOD today to have her, and we are very delighted. Lady Maiden Ibru, MFR. Lady Maiden was born in November 20, 1949. She's a public affairs and communication consultant. She's a media executive and newspaper proprietor. She is the chairman, publisher, and chief executive officer of Guardian newspapers. Before becoming the publisher of the Guardian newspaper, she was the chief executive officer of Guardian Press Limited for 11 solid years. She became the publisher of the newspaper after her late husband and founder, Alex Ibru, passed on. Today, she also runs the Trinity Foundation, which supports civil society, organizations that promote democratic and open society values in Nigeria. Remarkably, like we know, she was honored as a member of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, MFR, in 2014 on the basis of the remarkable work that she has done for her industry and for the nation. She was the founder and chairman of the holding company of Guardian Press, and she has done extensive great work building up all of that into what is today's one of Nigeria's most reputable publication. And the Guardian newspaper is a reference point for businesses, industries, organizations, and individuals. In 2017, she was conferred by the Greek Parliament the Golden Cross of Welfare. And in 2012, the Orthodox Pope of Alexandria, Egypt, and Africa conferred on her the ladyship title of the Cross of St. Mark. In 2014, she received an award as the SP, which is Special Philanthropy of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, by CECP Nigeria, which is the Committee Encouraging Corporate Philanthropy. In 2014, she got a national award of the Order of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Remarkably, this very cerebral, engaging, intelligent, and highly sociable personality celebrated her 70th recently. But most remarkable is her leadership in the Guardian newspaper, the work that she does with Trinity Foundation, and more importantly, as the matriarch of her family. Lady Ibru today is our guest speaker, and she's appointed to this position as our guest speaker because we want to draw from all of the remarkable things that she has done in diverse areas of her life, and we want to be able to learn and glean on the expertise that she brings to the table. So for all of us speakers from everywhere, I am presenting to you today on behalf of IOD and the Women's Directors Committee, a very, very eloquent, dazzling, intelligent, and cerebral, highly engaging, and amiable Lady Maiden Ibru as our guest speaker today. Yes, put your hands together for her. Thank you. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Chizo, our Vice Chairman for the Women Directors Development Committee. Excellent. So, Okpayemi, over to you. We're right into the conversations. Thank you.
So good evening. It's a beautiful evening here in Lagos, Nigeria, like I like to say. And all protocol duly observed to the chair, Dr. Jidema and Otumba and all the other executives that work tirelessly to make sure that women continue to rise and occupy leadership positions in boards in Nigeria. On behalf of all the women, thank you very much. It's a great privilege to be interviewing Lady Maiden Ibru. And I'm sure from the way I'm smiling, everybody can already see how much I just love her. She is absolutely amazing. And I would start with a little intro. I came in to have a discussion with her, just to give you a tip about who Mrs. Ibru is. And I came in and we got the appointments a little mixed up. And she just came down. She just came running down and said, I didn't remember that we had an appointment, but I thought it was very important for me to come in and just say hello to you and make sure that everything is okay. And for a much younger lady stepping into the wonderful, beautiful house of an amazing woman that you look at from afar, it said a lot to me about how amazing she is. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. Thank you so much, Ma, for having us today. And so many people are excited to hear from you. They're looking forward to speaking with you. And they're looking forward to just gleaning from all the things, all the gist that you've been giving me. Yes, Ma. So let's just dive right into it. I'll start from the beginning. So you've had an amazing journey. Tell us about your early childhood. Was there anything in the early years that prepared you to lead and to keep winning? Tell us about the early years.
My mother actually was in a convent school in Benin. And my dad, to be, lived in Benin. He was a Greek man, by the way, which is why I'm of mixed, race. Yes. Lived in Benin. So that Sunday, they went on a walk, and my father spotted this lady and asked his steward, Samuel, I still remember that name, to go downstairs to find out who she was. Of course, the Reverend Sisters did not encourage any conversation because there were three of them, one in front, one in the middle, one at the back, just to be sure, The next day, he went looking for that school. And when he got there, of course, it was another Reverend Sister that runs the school. Convent. Sister Hilda told her his story, and she called out all the students to line up. And that was how Dad identified my mom. Wow. Like they say, the rest is history. He now got in touch with my mom's parents, and that's how they became husband and wife. Yes. He delivered my brother in 1949 and 1947. I'm November 1949. And there's 4 years between my younger sister, Mrs. Philomena Awoshika, who is abroad at the moment. But actually, there were a set of twins between my sister and myself. 2 years between my brother and myself, but 4 years between my sister, a boy and a girl. They didn't survive, Mom kept a diary. Not just a diary, she actually had a book for records. So I looked at it. It's with me upstairs. It's the only thing I took from my mom when she passed. I have it upstairs in my closet. And the remarks for my brother was humble and quiet. Mine was clever and bubbly. Something to that
totally
effect.
True.
Something to that effect, So I'm not surprised. Like you said, I'm a friend of the world. Life's too short, I think what keeps me going is I say to people, try to forgive. That's a burden in itself if you don't forgive. You bear grudges, you keep malice, it's not worth it. It's wasted energy. The moment someone apologizes, you know, you accept it, receive it, and you just move on and don't refer to it. How many things do you want to refer to? Oh, you did this, you did that. Even the Bible says we should forgive 70 times, 70 times, which is 490 times in one day. And it's not possible for anyone to offend you 490 times in one day. So really, that's my life's philosophy, you know, to be at peace with everybody, you know, and that way your path will always cross with the right people.
I love that. So
she decided we must board. So we went to the first private boarding school called Children's Home School in Ibadan. It was actually set up by Mr. Ogunlesi, who went to Oxford. Few blacks were in Oxford in those days, and his wife accompanied him. She now became a teacher. The first private boarding school in Ibadan called Children's Home School. So mom boarded. Dad wanted us to go to Hillcrest in Jos because of the weather, the temperate weather, mild, you know. We actually went on that journey. I still remember it. It took 2 days by train. And what you see in Ido today, the NRC, that was exactly how things were in those days. Trains moved, everything was lovely. When we got there, she now thought, my God, this is a distance. I live in Sapele, which is my mom. Sapele was a European town because the biggest timber factory in the whole world, AT&P, African Timber and Plywood, was actually in Sapele, and that was what brought the Europeans. Well, I'm not surprised. That's where my mom and my dad crossed paths too. Yes. So, returning from Jos, my mom thought it's a long journey. It was armors in those days, you know, narrow roads, not dual carriage, what we have today, you know. She then spoke to her cousin, Uncle Sam Beniti, is broadcaster in Ibadan, and then told her about this children's home school. And that's how we ended up in children's home school. At least we were in boarding school, we were protected. So she used to come and visit, blah, blah, blah. And after children's home school, I went to Queen's School. Queen's School then was in Ede, you know, huge grounds, you know. Sadly, the military were to move in after we left, took over the school, turned it to something else, and moved Queen's School now to Ibadan. You know, and it's never the same because it was not purpose-built, whereas the old Queen's School was purpose-built. And after that, I left I now gained admission to St. Teresa's to do my A-levels after Queen's School. After St. Teresa's, I got into UI. I studied media and theater arts. Professor Olesho Inka was my prof. And what I remember him for was his play, Kongi's Harvest. Wow. And there was a sentence in that movie, that particular play, which said, total harmony. So when Professor Inka and I meet at any function, the first thing he says to me is total harmony. And I respond, totally don't understand. Yes. Anyway. I think he just celebrated his 87th birthday or something like that. We saw in the papers recently, bless him. And then, of course, I returned to Nigeria. And after UI, I now went to the States for my master's, studied media studies and all that. And returned back to Nigeria, got a job. And like they say, the rest is history. Got married, you know, and had my first kid in 77. Anita, she's going on 44, thereabouts. Yes. Or maybe even 45. We're 2022. Exactly, September 24th to be precise. So, and there we are.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So when I hear you, I hear a lot of so shout out to all the people that went to Queen's School, St. Teresa's, UI. If you are in the room, you can just chat and say we are here as duly represented. So thank you, Ma. That was really, really interesting. Because from an early age, going to boarding school meant that you learned independence at a very early age. Wow, I love that. What would you say, because we're talking about leading to win,
Yes, yes.
about that learning independence at an early age and, you walking your journey of life?
Yes.
How did that impact you?
Okay. After I got married, naturally, my husband didn't want me to work, But I said to myself, I want to be independent. I'm not one of those women who will go to a husband who's scratching your head, oh, you need some money, no. So I decided to set up a business in central Lagos, Kingsway Building to be precise. It was called Finesse. And my God, all the men in the corporate world, if you remember Broad Street, not what it is today, it's all gone. It was corporate, all the banks, insurance companies were all in Broad Street. So it was really, really corporate. So they were into suits, what have you. So I set up a company called Finesse, and I brought in the best. You can trust me.
I trust you.
And the men came, and the money flowed, and it was a success story. Then, of course, after a while, I thought, kids are now in boarding school. I have to go for half terms, what have you, and that was when I closed shop, But my husband always had this feeling that someday, this is a woman who juggles so many things. How she does it, I don't know, I just got on with it. That was it. And what happened? Then, of course, the sad news about the assassination attempt, that really, we haven't come to that.
We'll get to that, because I'm keeping that.
Yes. And so I just...
You just ran that business.
Look after the children, come back, But one thing I maintained in this house, this is a house where I cook a fresh meal every day.
She cooks a fresh meal every day.
Yes, my cook is there. Call him and ask him, he'll tell you, eat fresh
every day.
It doesn't take time, but I do appreciate women who are so busy, You can cook, box them, put in freezers. There's nothing wrong with that as long as you have light, and it's still in good condition. When you get home, you just put it in the microwave, off you go, and then you deal with what you need to deal with before you go to bed. So there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just used to the idea of cooking fresh meal every day. Yes.
Based on our conversation, there were a few things that we spoke about earlier that I want to draw attention to. We had spoken about, through your journey, you had spoken about having a good support system, and you were telling me about your staff. As in, should I let you tell them? She was telling me about how many years. So when we talk about a support system, a lot of people, because we're leading to win. So we're talking about all the different nuggets that feed into you winning. And one of the things that has come out, and I just let her speak to it, is because when people hear support system, they only think about their sisters, their brothers, their cousins, but we know that it's more than that. So tell us about your staff. Just tell them.
I have 2 domestic staff at home.
Yes.
And I think 4 security at the gate. In all, there are about 11, 12 members of staff, gardeners, what have you. Well, the 2 staff I have in the house are Mohammed. Mohammed has been with me for 39 years.
39 years.
When Morocco existed, it was when Morocco was a security guard. He started as a security guard, and Morocco was his home. After Morocco was demolished, where you got the Oriental hotels today, of course, he continued with that job. But as time went by, I sort of thought, he served the family for long, blah, blah, blah. So he's been with me for 37 years, and it's so good. I mean, this house, it's Mohammed that looks after it. My cook has no business with the house, just the kitchen.
And the house is beautiful.
It cleans everywhere. It's very domesticated. And of course, I'm very happy about that. I'm very honest. I'm not the sort of person who is keeping jewelry. What I have to go to my dressing table upstairs, I've got my jewelry on my, not a pin is missing. The important thing is you must learn to treat your domestic staff in a fair manner. It's only the natural thing to do, because I know of a lot of families who ill treat, their domestic staff, and the consequences can be very grave. If they really want to deal with you, it's not worth it. Just see, all human beings are equal in the sight of God.
I love it.
The only difference, just the opportunities that come your way.
I love it. I love it.
And we must say thank you, Lord, even for those opportunities. I don't take them for granted. You know. Yes.
I love
so
that.
Do unto others as you want to be done unto you. That's the philosophy. And of course, my cook, for example, his two boys were in the Guardian. Because I thought about it. He's been with me for 27 years.
27.
He will need his children to look after him in his old age. It doesn't matter how much retirement benefit you give them. The best thing is just go ahead and assist them. So they were both working in the Guardian. And one has finished from there, is now back to, I think, Ghana. He's doing his own thing and he's doing very, very well. The younger one is at the Guardian in the accounts department. Thank you, my dear.
I remember.
Accounts department, you know, so he's doing very, very well. In fact, we go for walks together on the bridge.
Wow.
I don't have all those airs. Forget it.
I love it. I love it.
I treat him like myself. If I have any problems with my phone, I just phone the quarters. It comes upstairs. Mommy, I give him in my bedroom. He sits there and here too, and he sorts this out. This is what you touched by mistake, and he sorts me out.
I love it.
So we thank God. We thank God.
So you've had a constant support system.
Yes.
Right. And one thing I hear that you're telling women, one thing you just said that was so profound to me. All human beings are born equal.
True.
The only thing that makes the difference is the opportunities that come our way. And and you should be grateful for the opportunities that come your way, and therefore treat people very well. And when you do that, you have a support system that allows you to run around and do all the many things that you want to do. So on the back of that, let's now dive into the gist. Yes, ma'am. Dr. Ibru must have come to you one day and said, I have a passion. I want to change the narrative of what is being said in Nigeria. I want to build something that tells the truth about what is going on in this country. So your husband came to you and said, I want to start up the business. And I want to do it because it's my vision, it's my passion. For all the many young women whose husbands come up to them and say, I have a passion, I have a vision, I want to start this thing. Could you tell them just nuggets of wisdom of how you walk that journey? Because you don't only win, like you taught me, when you lead from the front. Sometimes you also win by being the support at the back. So what advice, what would you say to those young women? How was it for you? The journey of starting Guardian, the journey of building that business and all of that. What nuggets would you share of wisdom with them?
If I recall, I think it was 20 maybe short then. Anyway, I've been in the Guardian for 27 years.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Very about 11, 15, yes.
Yes. So walking back, what year is that?
Mark, maybe you give me my 27. So that would be about 1995.
1995.
Very about, I think,
yes. Assassination attempt on him
was 1996. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So he'd given me his blessing to become the CEO of the Guardian, you know. And the first thing I did on arrival was to clean up the place. They had all those Dunlop tiles, cleanliness, they say, is next to godliness. You've got to clean up a place and people can breathe and operate in a decent environment. And I also noticed I inherited 1,000 and nearly 200 staff. Wow. I'm like, for a newspaper business, what do you need all the staff for? So what I did was I now invited heads of departments went to the Guardian on a Saturday, and I invited them to my office. And the first thing I said to them was, you must all have the fear of God. This is what I intend to do. There are too many members of staff, what we call floaters, just walking, parading the place, not producing, they are not, what do you say? They are not productive, So how have you coped with it anyway? I now said to them, also, have the fear of God. Don't say because this man is not from your tribe, so you're going to ease him out, You only want to keep people who are your tribe. It's very ungodly. And as for the women, the girls, don't say because you're interested in her, she decided to ignore you because workplace is not really the right place for any romance or what have you. I was that direct. You can't just fire them, And I prayed for them. So on that Saturday, we had the meeting, and everybody was in attendance. And I noticed that some of them, in fact, some had to go automatically because I found I got all their files out. I read about them and what to do. I now reduced it from 1,200 to I think 800 and something. Then there was a group within who wanted to continue the way things were. Because they have the agenda, doing silly things like filming, stealing and stuff like that. So I now decided, I think I punched to ask them what numbers of staff they had. They told me around 400 and something then. So I said, I have 1,000 plus, which I've reduced to 800. So I decided this is the time to do it. So they'll come in batches to the boardroom, we interview them, this. And unfortunately, one of them played into my hands. They brought in their so-called labor people, what to do, and one of them damaged the new generator. The new generator we had just installed. That was it. I didn't take the laws into my hands. I got in touch with Abuja. What are those people? What are they called? This old thing is not easy. It goes, it comes. Yes, no, they are not labor people.
The NLC, Nigerian Labour Congress?
Something to that effect.
Yes.
And as soon as they arrived, the Guardian, when I mentioned, they said, Mama, they are on their own. Are not in support of what they damaged the machine, the equipment you use in providing employment for them. They're on their own. They did not get involved. And so that was how I was able to reduce it to about 400 and something, which is what we are up till now. And since then, no problem. Everything is looking forward. And thankfully, we've gone beyond the newspaper. Yes, we are also now Guardian movie, we're in the film industry. And the first movie we attempted, Eyimofe, This Is My Desire. A very small story, but actually over 40 countries across the globe have acknowledged it. And it's still going around the globe. Yes, as we speak. In fact, the photo you saw in the hallway, the one in the middle, in the hallway.
Yes.
My long,
that beautiful gown. Yes.
Award. Yes. In Atlanta last year. Yes. And what was I?
You were telling us about Eyimofe, but I quickly wanted to throw in a question.
Yes.
How did you convince Dr. Ibru?
Yes.
After running his company for so many years, to allow you to take his 1,000 staff people and reduce them to 400.
Thank you for asking.
How did you do that?
That morning, I was all dressed. I got out of bed early.
Yes, sir.
I was all dressed. And I now went to him and I tapped him. I said, guess what, Daddy? I'm shutting down the Guardian. He stood up.
You're shutting down
He sat up. I said to say, Hillary, well, any problem? I said, just leave it to me. I've prayed about it. And that's what I'm going to do. But thank God it all turned out.
Well.
Everything turned out nice at the end of the day. I got the support and I continue to get the support. But I think essentially, you must take interest in your staff. Yes,
I keep hearing that.
You must take interest in your staff. At times they're struggling. They have their personal problems. It could be accommodation, it could be transportation. Anyway, though we actually, our salary structure, apart from the salary itself, housing, transportation, all those things are provided. But you know, they live far, Baja area, what have you. The office is in Isolo, you know, it's never moved to continue to stay there, you know. Any assistance you can do it privately, secretly, between the two of you. And you find that, you know, God's blessings, his showers will always stay on you and your family. In other words, at the point of need, help will always come. I say to people, I can't say because I'm rushing. It actually happened on this street. I was going to work one day, and when I got to, I don't know if you remember Uncle Fred Egbe. Yes. His house is on that side of the road. When suddenly, I had the escort car, me in the main car, I noticed a guy under a tree. So I then said to my escort, I don't call him my Olopa, my escort, to please go and check if that man is okay.
So you were on your way, going somewhere, and you stopped in the middle of the road because you saw somebody on the other side.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
His life was more important than that meeting. And I taught him, I said, you know what? I showed him how to get the pulse. Yes. I said, don't press too hard. He walked across. And he's like, Mama, I'm not feeling anything. I said, I think you're probably pressing too hard, just on the surface. He says, oh, yes, I'm feeling something now. No problem. We got another man, carried him into my pickup, and I made a U-turn. We didn't have this roundabout then. It was just straight. Lekki Bridge did not exist then. Made a U-turn to this house, went upstairs to my boys' rooms, and I started picking up things. Underpants, singlets, trousers, t-shirts, shirts, sponge, toothpaste, toothbrush, the whole thing. And I said to my driver, I can get to the Guardian without an escort car. Now take this man to the first consultant where Dr. Ameyu.
Blessed memory.
Oh, Ameyu, wherever you are, God will continue to be with you.
Amen.
Yes. So I took him there. He gave him a wash. She made sure that he was now okay. Blah, blah, blah. I had his first meal. My mind was still there. I now went without an escort. I still went to the Guardian. And then I now phoned her and said, things, Sissy Maiden. That's the way she used to call me. Oh, the man is fully recovered. He's even had his first meal. I said, keep him there. If it's 2, 3 days, 4 days, we want to keep him, send the bill to the house. Up till tomorrow, that guy never knew.
Who did that? Oh my goodness.
It could easily have passed, but you know, God always sends people. So you pray that your paths should always cross with good people.
I love
I
it.
believe strictly in that. It
I
works.
love it.
I love it. Kindness never
goes out.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. I hear a running thread through your journey. First of all, I saw the business savviness of knowing the number of staff and nicely handling that with, you know, some astuteness, the way you reduce that way staff members.
One part of that story, as they were being released,
yes, ma'am,
I had an envelope of disengagement for each one staff. They started writing me. We didn't have mobile phones then. All thanking me, you know. They could easily have been dismissed, you know, without doing anything. No, don't do that. So at least the first few months, they are able to cope before they get engaged in other jobs. Yes.
So the ethics, which everybody talks about in corporate governance, which is the way you handle your staff, both not for the present, but even as brand ambassadors into the future and into the marketplace, was what you showed us there, you know, disengaging them properly, getting them to live with a good mind while still achieving your goal, and then showing that wonderful kindness that I see is a common thread through your journey of life. I'm going to move to...
Sorry, in fact, one of them called me secretly and told me that the Labour people were trying to destroy our new generator. And that was when I said, oh, is that it? Thank you. Where your sugar or where your bread is.
So the kindness led to you getting, I mean, it doesn't get better than that. Exactly. It doesn't, kindness, like you said, is a running thread.
Yes.
Now I want us to move forward a little bit. Before we start talking about you as a board, as a woman that's handled boards, I want us to talk about 1996. I want us to talk about how you handled the 2nd of February, 1996. Also, how you handled it post that situation, because there are women on this call who have gone through trauma. Some are going through trauma or some sort of upheaval. So how did you handle the 2nd of February, 1996?
Interesting question. I remember that particular day. Actually, in all my husband's career life, I never visited the office. Never. On that particular day, I woke up and I kept pacing up and down in that. I couldn't understand what it was. It was now getting nearer to around 4 p.m. So I called Gloria. Oh, to blessed memory. Lovely girl. She lived in the quarters here with her mom. Just an office assistant. A very decent, God-fearing girl. So I called Gloria. I said, Gloria, where is Oga? He said he's next door with his brother, the federal office, to be precise. He's next door with Oga. So I said, never mind. I've never asked you to call Oga or disrupt, never mind. I couldn't explain why I was restless. I didn't know that was the day. Something was going to happen. So I went back upstairs. Around 6, 7-ish, my brother came in here with Kofi Duncan, a cousin of mine who is an architect. So he was the architect working for Federal Palace. And who else? A third person. I got there and I'm like, suddenly I saw my brother readjusting his legs. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? He says, I swear with the name of our parents, he's not dead. I said, what are you talking about? Yes. Yeah. And that was how he told me what happened. He wasn't there when it happened. What happened on that day, after Alex finished in his office, Budi invited him to his own office. And naturally my brother at this stage had started working in the hotel. Yes, in the hotel, because my husband had stopped really going, frequently. The accident hadn't happened, but it looked like he probably also had a premonition, if you know what I mean. So he went to my brother's office, because they're both Alexander, to say, oh, he's signing off for the day, and my brother, out of courtesy, saw him downstairs to the car park. When he got to the car park, he said his goodbye. Apparently, Rogers had arrived the hotel unknown to my husband. This was during the Abacha's time. Yes, arrived there unknown to my husband. Why would anyone want to kill my husband? You know what I mean? So Rogers had asked those Hausa traders, say, I'm here for Igbo. Yeah, there are 2 Igbos. One, they wear suit. The other one wears white. So they said, oh, yeah, the one in suit is the lawyer. The one in white is the one with the newspaper. That was all the information he needed to do that nasty job he did. Guess what? With all the big cars he has here, he was only driving a 504. A very simple man. Oh, he's got all the cars you can imagine back there in the car park at the back. And as they approached, as soon as his car took off from Federal Palace, he didn't realize the car that drove behind him was Rogers' car. Meanwhile, you know, Bacchus, the owner of Bacchus, was actually on the traffic, also returning home. He was to tell us later on that he noticed every time a driver wanted to come behind this particular car, my husband's car, someone would block it, you know, but we couldn't piece it together. So when they got to Falomo Bridge, this Falomo Bridge, the driver then asked him, sir, which route? Across the bridge or descend Falomo? He says, oh, you're the captain, decide whichever. That was old Ikoyi. All you see here today is not the Ikoyi of 20 years ago. All you see here only happened, when did they start selling? Anyway, it was all the old Ikoyi, the old buildings, what have you. So the natural route was always you go this way through Mildat. You know, yes. There wasn't body law, no such thing like body law, you know, that sort of thing. So he said to him, well, you're the captain, it's up to you, whichever route you want to go down, you want to go straight, you know, it's okay. Where should we be looking? FCMB chairman, where his house is now. That was aha. So Alex said suddenly, when they got to the bridge, no, just before the bridge, he just had shots in the air. So he said, he thought, well, what do you expect? Police people, this is the barracks around the bridge, that usually when they are frustrated, they always use the guns, you know, among themselves when they are frustrated, you know, because they are all armed. So he thought that was where it was coming from. Only for him to notice a gunman next to his car. And he said the thought that went through his mind was, why would anybody want to shoot to kill me? The next thing, the gun went through that glass, and by God's grace, because as the bullet hit him here, you can see even me doing this, my head shifts. It went through here. Luckily, instead of coming out here, it came out here. So he lost that eye instantly. Instantly. And luckily, the driver had the presence of mind not to bring him home. So you can now see why I was restless. Yes.
A woman's gut instinct.
Exactly. I couldn't understand why. And so he didn't bring him in, took him to Dr. Onitiri's clinic, also in Victoria Island, but not a hospital that was equipped to do that kind of job, if you know what I mean. So news now reached my brother. Oh, by the way, you should keep a siren in your boot. My brother keeps a siren in his boot all the time for no reason. That the siren became very handy because as soon as they took him from Onitiri's hospital, he just went straight to St. Nicholas. Yes. And it was actually a junior of mine, Efuton, who was the eye specialist that excised because they needed to excise to remove it straight away. All nicely bandaged, what a view. And I was to visit him, you know. He was mentally alert, thank God for that, you know, it was just that physical. And of course, within 48 hours, I got an ambulance into the country. Yes. What happened? Alex was Minister of Interior, Internal Affairs, and there were 4 portfolios under that ministry, which up to date, usually 4 for its immigration, passport, I have prisons, give me the word, give me the four major. Yes, yes. And so Toke's godfather, Eli Khalil, bless him. He got wind of it. I now had to phone Baba King Ibe. He took over straight away as Minister of Interior. Somebody will never die. They don't change them straight away. You could say the whole thing was planned. And I called him. He says, oh, madam, no problem. You can bring in an ambulance. And indeed, by Sunday morning, we were able to evacuate him. My brother, unfortunately, that's why one advice I'll give to you guys out there. Always check your passport that is correct. Unfortunately, his passport was not current, that expired, But the news was across the country, across the globe. It went viral, whichever way it was in those days. All the embassies had heard, and every embassy passport he went to, within 24 hours, he got his passport, you know, because they were all very sorry for what had happened. It shocked everybody. And that's how.
How did you handle that season? What advice would you give to any young woman going through a very turbulent season in their life?
Just get on with it, with the fear of God. Yes, I just got on with it.
One day at a time.
One day at a time, indeed. That's the best way to put it. One day at a time. And you won't believe it. When we got to London that evening, Tucker's godfather actually flew in 4 surgeons from the US to show you how desperate he was to save his friend's life. You know, Tucker is my first son, and Ailey is the godfather. In fact, there's a photograph next the way carried him during his christening in a cathedral church, you know, and all that. And Ailey flew in 4 surgeons from California.
Just to help his friend.
Yes, to give him the best.
That's a good friend.
Yes. Now, I had also chosen a London doctor, just in case, you know, they are not allowed to operate. Now, you're going to learn another lesson from this story. We are now in the visitors' family room, we call it. And the intensive unit is a long, long room. I'd never gone in there. Suddenly, I saw someone wearing a blue gown.
Doctor's gown.
A blue gown is a nurse in the theater.
Okay.
A green is a doctor.
Doctor, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I saw someone in blue, and I then said, "Good to the ICU." Oh, then maybe he's going to pick up my husband, you know, that kind of thing. So something said, just follow him. I went, and guess who I saw next to my husband? A man I'd never met, but turns out to be this doctor from the UK they have chosen, was suited. Because normally when you've seen a patient a day before, the standard practice, the day of surgery, you don't need to see the patient anymore. You just go straight to have your scrub, you know, and be ready, and they bring the patient. So something said, ask. And I'm like, oh, are you the doctor by any chance? Even though I know it shouldn't be suited, you know, but something urged me to ask the question. He said, yes. I was crying, of course. I was crying. I couldn't control it, and I held his hands, and I said, you know what? God will direct these hands whilst we're operating. So that was what happened. This was to be surgery for, I think, almost 8 hours. And there I am in the family room watching that clock ticking off, ticking off, ticking off. It now got to a point. You see, the word of mouth can actually lead you into a lot of disaster. Because when the Americans met, when the British doctor met the Americans, he says, what are you trying to prove? You think we don't have doctors or good surgeons in our country? They did not say a word, but they stayed those 2 days to ensure the surgery took place. And you know, everything was stable before they flew back. They did not argue with him, they just sort of ignored him. You won't believe it. Whilst this surgeon was now carrying out the operation, it got to a stage he didn't know what next to do.
Oh, wow.
I think his mind must have gone to my face, crying in that room whilst they were wheeling him away and asking him that God will lead him to do the best. Now he must have also remembered what he shouldn't have said to those American doctors and decided he would swallow his pride. You know what he did?
He called them in?
Oh, he took what do you call it? He took his gown and went out there and asked the lead of the 4 of them to say, please, I need help.
Oh, wow.
And my God, and they were the ones that concluded. You won't believe it, a very successful, he lost his eye, all right, but mentally, no problem, nothing
No impact.
until he passed. He lived another, was it
15, 16 years.
Yes, no headache, nothing. And we're very grateful.
I love it.
Yes.
So one thing I hear again from you is I keep hearing kindness. I keep hearing about your gut instinct, that push that just says, do this, do that, don't do this. And we've spoken a lot about the home front and your journey. And it's really an interesting one. I mean, you're very strong. I'm sure so many other women would say that. Now I want to talk about business. I want to talk about the board. You know, there was a question I asked you and your answer was so profound. I want you to say, I said, how would you spot a woman and recommend her for a board position? What would you see? And, you know, if somebody said, I was looking for somebody to sit on this board, you'd say, oh, I know so person.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. What are the things that usually draw your attention so that others can learn from you, Ma?
Well, I think the first thing is, what's the mission? What's the nature of the business? So what's the mission? What do you want to achieve? Then you look for like minds to bring on the board so that they share the same philosophy with you. And ours was a newspaper. It's in the back of the paper. An independent, no allegiance to any faith or any. It's stated in the back of the Guardian.
Yes.
So it's just as simple as that. And what Alex did, he invited someone like Shegun Shoba was very much involved from the beginning, having been a newspaper man himself. But he was chair and brought in people like Dr. Patrick Daly Cole. Who else was there? He kept it within the family, sort of, you know. Yes, I think his brother also was there in the early stage, you know. That was it.
So when you see someone, is there anything about them that makes you think, oh, that would be a good board material?
Yeah, well, not just seeing.
Seeing, of course.
That's my fine day. That's nicely. That sort of thing. Yes, no, I think you need to sort of
interact.
Yes, interact, exactly. That's the word, interact. By the time you talk and all that sort of. Then, of course, you can also ask people where she's worked before, what she brings to the table and stuff like that. Yes. Ours was not really a money sort of business type of thing. He just wanted a good paper for the country. So he didn't set it up as a business. Not at all. He was so lucky. He was a blessed man. I've told you, this house is 44 years old.
Yes, you said so.
So he was only 30, 31 when he built this house. And we've not changed anything.
You said
nothing except for painting. That's all we do.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
So if you were bringing women on board, you would be doing things like asking about them from other people, which means that they already have a reputation out there. Absolutely. You would interact with them, and probably there was something you mentioned way back about corporate governance.
Yes,
and you would
apply
in every way.
Like what one of our participants. She's the president of IED. Yes.
You did mention, yes, ma'am. So you did mention about corporate governance. You did mention about so you did mention about corporate governance. You did mention about asking about other people. And I remember you saying something about it being aligned with their sphere of business. So you can't be an engineer in training like me and work in engineering all your life, and then say you want to run, sit on the board of a newspaper.
Yeah, absolutely.
You did mention that. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
If something is relevant, it works out more than trying to teach people
how to make it happen. Right. What would you say to your 50-year-old self? If you could talk to Lady Maiden Ibru when she was 50,
Yes.
what would you say to her?
Knock it back for me. When was I 50? If I'm now going on 73.
Please, can somebody help me? I have to do the math. 20, oh, yes, 73, 63, like 90. Mommy, I'm doing the math. 1999.
1999.
What would you have said to yourself?
Yes, he passed 1996.
When you were 50. If you could,
it was short, 1996. But past 2011.
That's true.
And of all
on your
days,
birthday.
he passed on my birthday. In fact, there is an instinct somewhere, like you said, you know, on that day, I woke up. I didn't make church because it was his birthday, it was my birthday, and people would normally come around. I went to the room. I became his barber for over 20 years. Soon as my started it, then I took over the years. So we had Festus with us, his office assistant of those days. He was in that room, so he was never left alone. I trimmed his nails, gave him a haircut, shaved him, went into the closet. They had like 15 night shirts. I brought out a brand new one. Wow. I didn't know I was preparing him for death. I did not know. And after all that, Festus assisted me. We sat in on a high chair, not this low, single high chair. And I took a little blanket to sort of cover him because of the AC. Gave him a peg and say, you know, I'll be back shortly. Let me go and take a bath myself, you know. It was just there quietly, that sort of thing. Festus was there. Not quite 5 minutes, I was brushing my teeth when suddenly Festus came to me to say, oh, it looks like Oga, something maybe that's not okay, blah, blah, blah. And when I got to him, I actually noticed his palpitation. So the first thing I did, I grabbed the phone. Landlines were working then. I sent the driver, go to the church, to my church, our Savior's church. Even if the vicar was preaching, once you show him this note, he's going to find this one, just to give him the last blessing. And lo and behold, Alex held back, you know, until they arrived. And when they came, we gave him the last sacrament and everything. And he just tilted his head, and that's how he passed.
Peacefully. Please give me a minute.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. It's very emotional.
And particularly as it's very my birthday.
Yeah.
So every birthday, this scenario comes.
Plays over your head. But you've been moving on strong.
Oh, and
you've been running Guardian.
Our master bedroom.
Wow.
Which is the whole of this room. Luckily, I insisted on Madam's bedroom when we were building. Because when you've had your baby, you want your own space as well. So I insisted that there must be Madam's bedroom. So you can have your own space. So I've not returned here since.
Wow. How did you transit to taking over? Because you were made the CEO just a few days after. How did that happen?
Yes. In fact, he said I should take all those titles. And I said to him, for as long as
while he was alive?
No, those titles belong to you. So they buried him December 2011, 1st of January, if it wasn't a weekend or whatever. The Guardian carried it, even without me giving them any information or anything. And that was when they put my photograph to say, I'm now the chair. Because I said to him, those titles belong to you for as long as you're alive. And that's how I became chair, publisher.
And I love that. So while he was still alive in the later years, you were running the business.
Yes.
But you must have run the business in such a way that when he transited, right, people actually, without you having to force them, willingly said, Madam, we now want you to take over. And then you didn't take over his place while he was alive. You let him enjoy that role. You did it till the end. That was so beautiful. He propelled you. I love it. I love it. I love it. So when I hear your story, as I just want to go back to that question, because that must have been 3 years after the accident when you turned 50. Yes, because 1996, you'd have been 50 in 1999. What would you have said to Lady Maiden Ibru in that period of your life?
1999, when I was 50.
Yes.
1999.
Did anything monumental happen?
No, okay. Of course, after we sort of recovered enough. When he returned, he did not return straight to Lagos. Andy Aporugo, late Andy Aporugo, was already with the Guardian. So Andy met up with him in Port Harcourt. So he flew straight to Port Harcourt, and from Port Harcourt now went to his village called Agbara, and started the Ibru Center, Ecumenical Center.
Wow.
Yes. And what gave him that idea was when he gave himself to Christ and we went to Jerusalem. I accompanied him. After a week or so, I returned back. Then he stayed on for 2 months. He went all over the place, Mount Olives, the whole place, Jordan, the whole place. And when I went back, the week was going to get a certificate for us to return and all that. I actually cooked Nigerian food. Yes. And Peterson was the name of the man who was running the show. Actually decided to visit Nigeria.
Wow.
Yes, came to this house, we were in there, left for the village the next day with Alex. And he was actually the one who gave that center the name Ibru Center, Ibru Economic Center. We didn't want it to be Ibru. He gave it the name. And so that's what it is today.
Wow. I love that.
So people go there for retreats, for different things, and then a beautiful chapel. They built a chapel there. People don't know his resting place is actually in that vestry. Yes. They don't know because I covered it with a big marble, and so the priests go in there to dress and undress. They don't know that somebody is dirty. Until, of course, we put a headstone.
Okay.
So the headstone is there, to show that he's there.
So I would love to appreciate you for sharing so much of your story with us.
Yes.
I would like to ask the very last question as we round up. And there's certain things that have reverberated through your story, which I really just want people to not lose.
Yes.
One is independence.
Yes.
2, I saw kindness. 3, I saw a woman who didn't let her husband be and wasn't fighting with him for that recognition. And in that, I hear that he let you be.
Yes.
Therefore, you wouldn't be writing your story without him.
True.
The choice of a partner in your journey, therefore, becomes very critical as you go along the journey of life.
Yes.
I hear with you somebody who is strong. I also hear somebody who knows a lot of people, because I guess you always say, I call this person, I call this person, I call this person. So you, I mean, you should see Mommy Ibru trying to, she was teaching me how to bunga. I hear all of that. Yes. And I think it is a combination of all of this. Yes. That makes apart from your amazing fashion sense, which I won't even talk about, right? That makes the amazing Lady Ibru that we sit in front of today. as somebody that has sat on board for many years, as somebody that has walked this journey, been the wife of somebody that was one of the most powerful men in Nigeria at a particular point in time, went to UI, done so many things. What is the 1 or 2 words of wisdom we want to live with every single woman that is listening to you today?
First of all, I think I should address the men.
The men, fantastic, I love it.
Empower their wives.
Men, empower your wives.
Yes. It starts from there, because they tend to take women for granted. Oh, we belong to the house. Oh, we are for raising babies, what have you. Women actually can juggle so many multitaskers. It's a gift from God. You know, you make sure your home front is comfortable, it's clean, you go to work, you do this, you do that, you come back, everything okay, blah, blah, blah. You just get on with it. We are natural multitaskers. Take advantage of that gift from God. Whereas some men begin to feel inferior. Oh, the wife has a bigger job than himself. You should encourage her, propel her, because the time would come, you, the man, the husband, will retire. She now becomes the breadwinner. What's wrong with that? You know, but if you don't appreciate her, you will frustrate her, and she may just decide she's going to resign, and then you have issues, then maybe divorce comes in, a separation and stuff like that. No. The men must actually propel their wives, you know, yeah, and see it in their lifetime, not when they are gone.
Wow. Do we have any questions? I want to know. I just want to throw it open to the audience. Any questions for Lady Maiden Ibru? Please do send it in right now. We've heard a lot about kindness. We've heard a lot about support systems. We've heard a lot about having an amazing network of people. We've heard a lot about being a fantastic businesswoman. Because remember, Broad Street was it. Finesse was in Kingsway Mall. Positioning was tight to be able to harness that market. We've heard a lot about disengaging properly. We've heard a lot about sitting on boards and, you know, the perception of and how critical it is and how people would all ask about you before you even are given the opportunity to get into that position. So we've heard so much today. So I'm just asking us if we have any questions. This now would be a good time to just throw that in. Questions from the audience? Oh, yes. Okay. So, Ma, I believe that Walter's a lot of, I would like to ask a question.
Please go ahead.
While they're compiling all the questions, I would like to ask a question.
Okay.
On the wake of Dr. Ibru having that accident, or what happened to him,
Yes.
you had kids
Yes.
who were in school. You had a business that needed to be run. How did you do everything? How did you, no, just even tell me how you did it, because I'm overwhelmed. How?
I'd say it's really a special grace of God. I just got on with it. That actually led to my insomnia. Up to date, I suffer from chronic insomnia. So now and again, I could take Nitol, but not on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you've done all this multitasking. Then you're on your own in your room, and then you're not taking stock of what happened. That keeps you awake. Keeps you awake for a long time if you take the right decision. I've been very lucky. I think over things before I make a move. This is the way. And I don't impose, I'll explain. Look at the pros and the cons, weigh the consequences, and then just leave everything to God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I keep hearing you say one day at a time.
Yes.
So I really, really want to emphasize for anyone that is, based on everything that Lady Maiden Ibru has said, for anyone that is going through turbulence, for anyone that is going through upheaval, Lady Maiden Ibru has told us the secret. One day at a time. There is no rush. Just take it. Today we'll finish, tomorrow we'll start. Today we'll finish, tomorrow we'll start. And one day you'll be looking back and that time would have passed. Mommy Ibru, I can't even call you Lady Ibru, as I should be if this was Yoruba culture. Only I would probably be kneeling down right now. But we love you. We appreciate you. You are amazing. And when she's so young, I can't believe. I thought she was teaching me how to Buddha. I loved it. So thank you so much, Ma, for having us.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you. On behalf of IOD, I know they will still say thank you.
Yes.
And on behalf of every young woman out there who just listened to you today,
Yes.
I am saying thank you.
Oh,
Thank you very much. Yes. So I will hand over to Dame Elizabeth. Oh, somebody just threw in a last minute question. Okay. Somebody wants to know, how is it being a director sitting on a board? Just tell us a bit about being a director on a board.
Well, like the name suggests,
Direct
the affairs of the company to achieve its mission, its vision, its purpose, and all that. So it's very straightforward. You're a director. First of all, you must acquire knowledge as to the sort of the nature of the business that has invited you to be a director. You must have done your research. And if you're not capable to handle it or bring something to the table, it's no point you take it because you get paid. You know, I know some of the boards pay sometimes 5, 10 million a year, that kind of stuff. No. It's not a money-making thing. People will look back and say, oh, yeah, it was so brought this idea, it works, you know, that kind of thing. So really, directors of boards must be prepared to bring something to add value to that company for growth and continuity. Yes.
So there is a journey towards being a director, and you need to prepare towards that journey, so that when you get there, you are able to say and do things that add value to that company. You're bringing things that add value to that company.
This is what IOD is actually
all about. Yes, you're right.
Institute of Directors.
You're right. You're right.
Teach you how to, you know, bring all these things on table to whatever company you're involved in. Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
So Lady Ibru is telling all the young ladies out there, IOD has been put in place to help us prepare for being directors in the future. And one of the key things that she's saying is you need to leave a legacy when you are a director in a company. You must be able to look back and pinpoint and say, this and this and this and this were the things that I was able to bring, right, ma'am?
Yes.
And that doesn't just happen. You actually have to work towards being able to be that, right? So there's a preparation, and IOD is there to help us prepare so that when that time comes, we are ready for the opportunity. Okay. So,
president now, she's part of us.
Yes, that's what you tell me.
Make sure she actually ensures that we keep to the rules.
I love
That's
it.
why a woman is different from a man. She's doing fantastic.
She's doing a fantastic. I love it. Dr. Tara, she said you're doing a fantastic job. Yes, sir. Somebody said, use one word to describe yourself.
Oh my God. Just a happy person.
I love it. I agree.
At peace, someone who is at peace with everybody. Honestly, I'm not exaggerating. Why won't you be at peace? It's heavy burden. You are carrying what happened during the day. It's not worth it. The moment they say, I'm sorry. A good example I give. There are people who are just, if they are not envious, they're just troublesome, troublemakers. So the good example I give is, say for example, you go to a function, all those round tables. You stand up from your seat, you want to go to the washroom. and say someone is just standing. You didn't step on the person, but the person either out of envy or what have you, are saying, she won't die. You say you step, my dear.
It doesn't take it.
You have brought him or her down to that level of say, that's a good example. I'm telling you. So just say, I'm sorry. Has he taken anything from you?
No, he hasn't.
He's lying. But the I'm sorry makes the peace. So try to be at peace with everybody.
I love it. So you said peaceful, I was happy. I'm using two words.
Yes.
Happy and peaceful.
Yes.
And Lady Maiden Ibru gave us a very powerful example. And I love that example. The next time somebody tries to just cause trouble, just say, I'm sorry, even if that person is the one that is wrong, so that there is peace. Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ma. There are no other questions at the moment, but you have been amazing. Like I said, you have been so wonderful. I personally love you so much. So thank you very much, Ma. On that note, I will hand over to Dame Elizabeth Ibru, who is going to be taking the vote of thanks on behalf of the IOD. And this is from Okpa and Lady Maiden Ibru. As we sign out, we hope you've learned something from the journey of an amazing woman, a trailblazer, a history maker, a game changer, and that you take everything that you have learned and you change your story and make sure that you become as good or even better. Thank you very much. Signing over to Dame Elizabeth Ibru. Over to you,
Thank you. Thank you, Opeyemi. What a brilliant evening. On behalf of the Women Directors Development Committee of the Institute of Directors, I am delighted to deliver the vote of thanks. Of course, a special thanks to our chief guest, Lady Maiden Ibru, a legend in her own right. Madam, it's an honor to hear you speak today. I'm sure a lot of us here have admired you from afar. And of course, our great and brilliant moderator, Opeyemi, for asking all the right questions. Yes. I also want to appreciate the president and chairman of the Governing Council of IOD, the amiable Dr. Mrs. E.J. Jidema, for approving this event. This vote of thanks will not be complete without extending our appreciation to our ever hardworking DG, Mr. Dele Alimi, and of course, our Iron Lady herself, the chairperson of the Women Directors Development Committee, Otomba Demola Oshibogu, and our ever agile chairperson of the Executive Coaching Committee, the ever vibrant Jane Adetu. And to all our esteemed participants, members of the press, and to everyone that took out time to be with us today, I say a very big thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, can I break protocol for 1 second? Lady Maiden Ibru would like to say one more thing before we sign out. Is that okay?
No, that is fine. Please go ahead.
Go ahead, Ma. Yes, Ma. Yes.
Well, actually, I took on this assignment because of Mrs. Oshibogu. Her sister, Shola, she was Miss Agbega, Shola Agbega, now Shola Obada. I went through Shola Obada to get the younger sister's number. And so I've come a long way with this family. There was no way I could have turned this down, because she's like a younger sister to me. And I thank you so much for bringing me to this space. You are also wonderful in what you do, and I wish you all the very best in the future.
Thank you very much, sis. And we really do appreciate you, honestly. Honestly, we all love you so much. And that's the honest truth. And I believe each and every one of us must have gained something from Lady Ibru today. Her wealth of experience, it's not something you can read in a book, neither is it something that you can buy. So when people say that they are smart, people would ask, who is your teacher? Of course, it's experience. That's what has made Mrs. Ibru, Lady Ibru, a very smart woman. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. And I want to say that the inspiration that you have given to the younger ones, I believe, because I saw the chart. I mean, you didn't have the chance to look at the chart. And every one of them were just admiring you. That how you pulled it through as a mother, as a wife, as a director, as even while you were working, staying at home, looking after children was a great job. People think housewives don't do much, but they do a great job. And when you have the opportunity, and I'm sure that's what you must have done, while you were at home, you were equipping yourself to go to the highest level of your profession. So let's thank God for your life. We'll continue to hear more from you. We will share the video with you so that you can get to hear yourself, because I'm sure you didn't listen to yourself today, so we'll give the video. And to all our members, we say a big thank you to the committee members headed by Janet. Thank you for putting this thing together. I think it's been wonderful and awesome. President, thank you for allowing us. Okay, Amy. I know I just on you too. You understand? And I also thought, I didn't know I was talking to my daughter. That's the way I should say it. And she said, Mom, don't you remember me? I worked with Tinuke, with your daughter in Stanbeck. So thank you for coming this. And you've done a fantastic job. So we all wait for our conference, which is coming up on the 24th of September. I'm sure we're almost 200 on this call. Let us all join in that conference. And I can tell you that we keep upping the game. So the TTC was a #1. Our Fireside Chat has upped the game. So let us all come together for our conference. And I can assure you, Lady Ibru will be there with me. So thank you so much, everyone. And remain blessed. Have a lovely evening. Thank you.
Thank you. A picture. Yes, I mean, I'll take my personal that picture.
Stand up this side.
Yes, ma'am. Me too.